りそわそわしないであなたはいつでもキョロキョロよそ見をするのはやめてよ私が誰より一番
Or community and ought to be totally 100% self-reliant. Real men ought to be unflinching, brave, and stoic, but the song then sharply veers into this critique that these constant attempts to rid themselves of any sort of softness, whether that be physical or metaphorical, often disconnects men from the most universally shared human experiences. Even something as simple and universally human as bleeding is frowned upon because to bleed is to be vulnerable. However, the standards of what constitutes a real man don't just ask men to disconnect from their pain or expressions of vulnerability, but rather demand they disconnect from all human emotion. And what this culminates in ultimately is self-destruction, because real men go down with the ship even when there's no true need for them to. They refuse to partake in or even acknowledge the things that are necessary to sustain life, which the narrator comments on by sarcastically remarking that real men don't eat because they're above that, because they're above their hunger and above what is widely considered to be the most base human need. There's also this idea that this emotional disconnect is emotionally stunting, with many of what we consider to be true men often being more boy-like than not. The chorus of the song is especially interesting to me because it's commonly interpreted as desperate and groveling, but I've always interpreted it as extremely sarcastic. To me, it's mocking almost. Of course you would assume this is the only thing I crave or live for. However, even if this is your interpretation, there is validity in the first, because although the narrator craves this, they clearly resent the fact they do. They are extremely angry over the fact they've been taught to perceive this type of validation as the most fulfilling, meaningful thing they could experience. And it's a rage that's worsened by the fact the narrator does actually derive some sense of accomplishment from this. Towards the end of the song, the narrator expresses this desire to be a real man, likely to distance themselves from this. The irony here being the fact the standards that constitute a real man are fundamentally impossible to achieve, even to the men the narrator sleeps with.
But not for Lola. Still in that dress she used to wear, faded feathers.